Hi, this is Jennifer Bailey from Sing to Kids. Thank you for joining us for the Reset and Renew 2021 virtual conference by the Music Crew. Today, I'll be talking about using digital notebooks to sequence your recorder instruction. So let's get started. For this session, you'll need a laptop or desktop computer, your recorder curriculum, and if you don't have a curriculum that you use, may I suggest the differentiated recorder? That is my recorder curriculum, which is available on Teachers Pay Teachers. And lastly, Google Slides or some other comparable slide program like PowerPoint. During this session, I hope you'll learn how to create a digital notebook in Google Slides, how to link assignments to pages in the digital notebook, and how to add videos and assessments in the notebook as well. So the first question you may have is, why would I want to use a digital notebook? It allows students to learn anywhere, anytime, because all of your materials, all of your songs, all of your videos are all in one place. It also allows students to work at their own pace so they can be as methodical as they'd like, or they can move quicker through the book depending on their own musical experience. It gives students opportunities to extend the learning because you can add additional materials into your digital notebook. You can give them composition activities, improvisation activities, and even some remedial work if necessary. And lastly, it cuts down on paper usage and lost materials. You will never hear a student say that they lost or forgot their book again because their book lives in the cloud. So some things to consider as you set up your slide deck. You'll want to choose your backgrounds or borders if you choose to use them. That's really an aesthetic issue, but some people feel strongly about having things look pleasing to the eye, and others like to keep things very simple. You can find backgrounds and borders on TPT, and there are many free ones you can choose or very inexpensive ones to dress up your slide deck. You'll want to have your images and videos that you want to use. And when I use the word images, think about the songs that you're going to use. So if you're going to be using song material, you may need to create those songs in Finale or at the very least snap pictures so that you can import them into your slide deck. You'll want to gather your assignments and the assessments that you want to use throughout your recorder unit. And lastly, create a timeline for learning. All of us approach recorder learning differently, and some teach it for a very short amount of time, while others will stretch out recorder through the course of the year. So you'll want to know the timeline that you're going to provide for your recorder instruction and be thinking about how you will assign your assignments and assessments throughout that timeline. Other things to consider, I like to provide a table of contents in my recorder digital notebook for students. And the thing that I like about this is that I can link each item in the table of contents to a specific slide. It just helps students find and access information easier. I also provide a weekly assignment page in the start of the book. And again, each assignment is linked to a page in the slide deck. So if a student is missing an assignment, I can say you need to go to the assignment of October 26th, click on that link, and you'll find your assignment. I find, again, it just makes finding content or finding work much easier for my students. You'll also want to include explicit directions for students for any assessments that you're going to ask of them. So if you're using Flipgrid so they can show what they know and play a song, and they've not ever used Flipgrid before, you'll want to give them explicit directions on how to access Flipgrid, how to record on that platform, etc. You may also want to include videos demonstrating how to hold the instrument, play certain songs. That adds a lot of work at the front end of creating your digital notebook. But the lovely thing is that once you've created that content, you have that to use for every recorder unit you teach moving forward. About 10 or 12 years ago, I created a series of videos, beginning videos for my students, and I still use that content to this day. So that's something you may want to consider. And lastly, I love to show students videos of great or unique performances, because I think great is in the eye of the beholder. But what I find is that when I share unique or really well done performances of people playing the recorder, it sparks my students' interest and it helps them to push forward and learn more on the instrument than perhaps they may have wanted to do in the first place. And so those are just a few things to consider as you're creating your digital notebook for recorder. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my recorder book and show you what it looks like and how to create this for your own students. So let's get started with our digital notebook for recorder. The first thing you're going to want to do is to log into your Gmail account and go to the waffle in the upper right-hand corner. When I click on that waffle, all of my options appear, and I'm going to click on slides so that I can create my new recorder book. I like to start from a blank template just because I like to add things in for myself. You can go ahead and delete this text if you don't want it there. And then the other thing is you'll see it defaults to a size, and I want to go in and change that so it's just a regular page. So I'm going to File, Page Setup, and you can see it defaults to the widescreen, but I can go to Standard and apply that so that they all appear as a normal page on the Google Slide Deck. So I'm going to go ahead and take you into my slide deck here. This is my 4th grade digital recorder notebook. And as you can see, this is the front page. When I was referring to backgrounds, this is what I'm talking about. Just a simple background that I got from Teachers Pay Teachers. This is the border, again, a very simple border. I think this is from Kelly B's store. And then the text, I inserted a text box here to give the title. And then lastly, a little clip art of a recorder. So very, very simple. I don't do a lot of fancy stuff because I really want my students' attention to be drawn to the content and not be distracted by other things. The second page in my digital recorder book is my table of contents, and you can see here I have everything that's in this book for my students. And you can see that from 2 through 17, those are all hyperlinked, but the first one is not. And I'd like to teach you so that as you're building your digital notebook and you want students to be able to find things in the table of contents, how to link that to a page in your Google Slide Deck. So the thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to highlight the text that I want to hyperlink. I'm going to go up here where it says Insert Link and click. And you'll see I have the option for next slide, first slide. And if I go all the way down here, it says Slides and Presentation. And then I can go ahead and link that to the slide that I want. And now that particular topic is hyperlinked to the page that I want it to be in the recorder book. I can do the same thing here. Remember I told you I'd like to put a weekly assignment page in there as well. And you can see that, again, many of these things are hyperlinked. But here where it says the week of January 5th, I'm going to highlight that again. And I'm going to go up here where it says Insert Link. And again, I want to be able to get to insert a slide. Now, it's not letting me get all the way down there, so I'm going to do it a little sneaky. I'm going to say slide 21, because that's really what I want. And then it will hyperlink itself. I don't have to save anything. It's all there. And here's the thing. When I go ahead and put this into present mode so that you can see it, then when I click on week of January 5th, You can see there the song appears, it's hot cross buns. The music is there for you. Remember I talked about having images of your notation or the songs that you were going to do. So here's the song for my students, here's the fingerings they have to connect to. And then you'll notice up here in the corner I have a show what you know. And that particular button is linked again, just like I did with the other hyperlinks, but it's linked to a Flipgrid assignment where they can click on this and it will take them to Flipgrid, and the students can play hot cross buns for me and show what they know. So there are lots of ways you can embed the assignments right into, or the assessments right into the assignment. So let me just take you through what's in my book so you can see it. I'm going to go back to the beginning and go back into present mode. So there is the cover again, the table of contents, weekly assignments. Here's some information about the recorder. I included this because my students did recorder remotely this year, and I wasn't going to have an opportunity to go through all of those things with every student depending on whether or not they were in attendance at our meet. So I wanted to have that in the digital recorder book. There's some more information about playing with left hand on top and right hand on bottom. And then first day of recorder fingerings. My students learn to play orally before they play by notation. So we learn some tunes that we have done in music class prior, and we learn mi, re, do as G do fingerings, and then they learn to play some tunes by ear to build their confidence and to make sure that their fingerings are set and they're covering holes and they're blowing with a gentle tone before we simultaneously learn notation as we're playing the instrument as well. So that's why this looks a little different. There's videos of me playing each song for students, so they can go in and listen and watch and play along. And you'll see at the bottom, there's a little link for show what you know. And that's where they can go play the song for me on Flipgrid, so I know that they can play the tune. Then we extend the learning into D-Do fingering. So once they have their left hand in place, we go into the right hand and play D-Do songs, and we repeat the same songs from G-Do to D-Do. So that's why you see the setup. And again, a series of videos where I am playing every song for them so that they can play along or watch or study fingerings. Here's information on reading notes on the staff, and where we can talk about line notes versus space notes. And then we connect that, and because we're going to be get ready to read notation. And so again, I'm matching fingerings to what they've already learned and making sure they know proper note names. And then here are their songs. I have moved away from using Recorder Karate. I love the structure in terms of building one skill upon another so that it gets increasingly more difficult. But my first and foremost goal with all of my students is to meet my students where they are and help them to be as successful as they can. And what I found is that oftentimes kids got a little frustrated with that format if they weren't able to achieve quickly. So you can see here, this is their first song. They can show what they know here. Again, they've already played the song for me in G-Do and D-Do. So this is really a song where we're just going to connect notation to what we already know. Here's another song, Mary Had a Little Lamb. And again, a song we've played before, but what we're really focusing in is connecting what we can already do and adding the notation to it. And then each song gets a little bit more difficult, and there are a variety of songs here for my students to choose and pick from. Usually they do both songs through this page, and then they can pick 2 of 3 or 2 of 4 songs to perform me. They get a little bit of choice. And then the last thing I put in here, sorry, I'm just going to keep going, is I put in some great recorder performances. And I wanted to walk you through how to include videos if you've not done this before. I'm going to pull a link from YouTube. This young man does beatboxing and recorder playing, and it draws my boys in. It gets them excited about playing. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab the link from the YouTube video and copy it. I'm going to go back into my digital notebook, click Insert Video, and then I'm going to paste that link there, click on the blue button, highlight the video that I want to add, and click select. And then once the video is there, I can resize it. One of the new features I love about Google Slides is that I can also control the portion of the video I want them to see. So if it was a rather long video, maybe I only wanted them to see a 30 to 45 second excerpt, I could go and say I want it to start at this time and I want it to end at this time. And I really love that because then you can really focus the listening experience for students. So I have great recorder performances here for my kids. I have a variety of them, but the reality is I provide them with a few, and what happens is as we go along, the kids start to look for great performances and they bring them back to me to share out with the class. And so this is the Vivaldi Recorder Concerto, which my students just are amazed at watching this man perform. And then if you have not seen this man's videos where he is doing ensemble pieces, but he's recording each one himself, the Cantina Band from Star Wars is one of my kids' favorite ones. So this is the digital notebook, and I will tell you, you can do it in a variety of ways. If you're using Google Classroom or you're using a learning management system like Canvas or Schoology, then you can assign the book each week to your students and add things incrementally. Or, this year, because I have the bones of my book already to go, I can send the whole book out to my students on the first day, and kids can work through things as they like. I kind of like the idea of doing it incrementally just so that I have a little bit more control about how quickly some of my kids move. And it's not that I don't want them to work through the book quickly, but I want to make sure that the work they do is quality work. And so that's really important to me. You can assign this from week to week. If you are adding things on, you can assign it once and then have kids just keep that open in their assignment. I have done the digital notebook for recorder, for ukulele, for drumming, for composition, and I've found it to be just a wonderful resource for students to have, to access information, to work through assignments, and to work through skills and concepts across multiple disciplines in our music room, and I found it to be a really useful tool. And again, I don't have the excuse anymore of I didn't bring my book today, because the book is in the cloud. And given everything that's transpired over the last year with remote learning, most of our students have access to technology or have a one-to-one device now. And so being able to bring a Chromebook or a laptop or an iPad to music class is no longer a barrier to learning. So this is what my recorder book looks like, and I just wanted to share that with you. And now I'm going to take you back to our presentation. Thank you so much for coming to my session, using digital notebooks to sequence your recorder instruction today. I hope that you are able to get a few ideas to use in your own instruction and to help you rethink how you approach your recorder instruction with your students. I would encourage you to seek me out on Teachers Pay Teachers. You can search for me using Sing to Kids, all one word. There you'll find a multitude of resources for elementary general music. I have recorder, ukulele, drumming, and music learning theory resources. And my store is on sale right now, everything 20% off throughout the entirety of our conference. I also have a blog, which you can find at singtokids.com. There I write about topics that are near and dear to my heart in elementary music. You can use the Find It Fast tab to search a variety of categories. Again, everything from ukulele, recorder, drumming, music technology, music learning theory, you name it. I've probably had a blog post about it. It's just a wonderful resource to give you ideas and insight into teaching elementary music. Thank you so much again. If you have any questions about today's session, you can reach me at singtokids@gmail.com or at my blog at www.singtokids.com. I'm sorry I could not be live in my session. I am teaching a music learning theory level concurrent to the conference, but I will come back to check the comments and will answer any questions that you may have, or you can reach out to me personally. Thank you again and have a wonderful evening.